Hi, I'm Jennifer Bilbrey, and I'm here with Candace Ossifert Russell, and today we're going to talk about grief. So Candace, tell us a little bit about yourself and your work.
So I've been a therapist for almost 15 years, and I came into this work from a lot of personal experience. I was in career transition when my son was born, and my husband suddenly died when my son was an infant. And it was going through that experience with the help of a really good therapist that led me to decide to become a therapist. And the thing that makes me so passionate about doing this work is having been in the experience of going through something that was very dark and very painful with someone who didn't try to change me. Yeah, she didn't try to take the darkness away from me. She didn't try to talk me out of my feelings, but she didn't leave me alone.
Because so much of what we learn about with grief is, for instance, there should be a timetable, like after a year or something.
Yes.
You should feel better, like all of a sudden.
Exactly. There's a lot of what I would call left brain information about grief out there, which is about logical, linear points of how things are supposed to look. And that is really central to all of my work, actually, is I try to help people find their own internal wisdom and their own internal processes with things that I know we all have, but that we are conditioned in various ways not to know about and not to trust. And one of the biggest things I learned going through my own process was how to discover and discern and make use of my own inner experience that didn't necessarily fit with what the world said I was supposed to feel. And having somebody who was there with me in the process of discovery and then helping me hold on to and understand what I found was very different than being made to feel like somehow my experience wasn't right or needed to conform to some external standard, which to me is pretty ridiculous.
It is. I agree.
So, I mean, because actually what happened for me in my own loss was that I had enough support and help that the way that loss happened, it actually caused me to question almost everything about what I had believed to be true about the way the world works. And so my process was very long and very intense and very deep, but it wasn't just the grief for my husband. It was the grief for my husband that led me to this kind of deep exploration of everything. And had somebody said, you're supposed to just get over this and move on, I would have missed a whole long journey of that was very painful, but that helped me discover so much about myself and actually about humanity. And so now I really have a lot of courage to sit with people who are going through just about anything and to trust that I can help them find their way. And because I'm helping them find their own way, rather than me having to be responsible for some external way that I'm trying to force them into, it actually leaves me a lot of freedom as well to be an explorer with them instead of being in charge.
How beautiful. And look at where you are now. Like, I'm thinking about your deep center training, and tell us a little bit about that other work that you do.
Yeah, I started getting into training other therapists about 8 years ago because I really realized that this way of working in a very authentic, engaged way that's really based on ancient wisdom traditions and cutting-edge science, all the interpersonal neurobiology and attachment theory, they really all come together in a way that is so teachable. And I also really have a passion for more and more people being met where they are and being helped to discover who they are rather than being told who they're supposed to be. And so I had this passion for teaching therapists how to do this work in this way so that more and more people could get therapy like that. And what I've discovered about that is that it's kind of a fractal kind of process in that working with therapists doing this work, I'm helping therapists become who they are as therapists so that they can help their clients become who they are as people. And so it's every bit as exciting to me to work with teaching therapists as it is working with clients to help them, because I'm not telling the therapist what they're supposed to do either. There's some ways of being that are really about learning to trust yourself and learning to trust your emotion regulation capacity so that you can help your clients. So then I get to watch therapists become enthusiastic and passionate and engaged because they're really getting to be all of who they are in their work. And so it's just this kind of cascading process where everybody gets to grow.
So you offer workshops?
I offer workshops and I offer study groups and supervision for interns. I also do consultation with experienced therapists who are interested in working this way. And I have an intensive year-long training that I do in the deep work that is kind of the bones of what I do. And pretty soon I'm going to be offering online courses as well. So stay tuned for that.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
So I just launched 3 new websites over the summer, and one's for my private practice of counseling, and one is for my Deep Center training, which is all about therapist trainings. It talks about all my workshops and study groups and everything. And then the Deep Center counseling is kind of a clearinghouse for my LPC interns who provide low-cost counseling under in my way of working and this deep way of working. And so you can find a group of people who offer therapy at a lower cost, but who are dedicated to learning how to work in this model. So,
the little bit that you've talked about your own personal experience and how you came to this work, I have a sense of how you are as a therapist in treating grief. I want to hear more about how you applied that idea towards a family or a system or a couple.
Okay. Yeah. So the way I approach grief is kind of naturally applying to couples and family systems, because the way I approach grief is about helping people understand that grief simply is an intense emotion. It's a very intense emotion, and I think that's why it frightens people. And it frightens people so much that even the experts say this is how it's supposed to look, so that you can have some sort of container to put this very big emotion into.
Let me organize this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I try to get away from that packaging so that people can discover it's just an intense emotion. I don't mean to trivialize it. It's so intense it overwhelms people. So having information about what can be expected from having an intense emotion kind of come take you over, that does lead to some of the things that we hear about grief that helps people to feel like they're not crazy when they're having these very intense experiences, like feeling dizzy, having insomnia, sleeping too much,
losing your hair,
feeling sick, all those kinds of things that people can really get worried about when they're experiencing grief can really be normalized, because those are actually nervous system responses to a very intense emotion. But that piece, along with the fact that the way we deal with intense emotions is affected by our attachment history. All the neuroscience these days is showing that the first 3 years of life and then ongoing experiences with how we are helped to deal with intense emotions is how we know what to do when we encounter something like grief later in life.
Yes.
And so when people are having trouble with grief, like if it's causing problems for them, if it's getting stuck or getting too big or feeling wrong, bad somehow to the person themselves, then usually what I find is we are running up against old stuff. We're running up against attachment history stuff that would manifest around intense emotions of most kinds, but it's just grief is the most intense thing that people encounter most of the time as adults, that kind of breaks through all of their ways of coping, thank you very much. And so when I'm working with a couple or a family, the way this really manifests specifically for those systems is to help people understand that we're going to experience intense emotions in different ways. What your experience of having somebody help you with your intense emotions and your temperament, it's our temperament and our history. Your temperament is going to be different than mine. Your history is going to be different than mine. And so the way you respond to this intense emotion is going to be different than the way I respond to this intense emotion. What you need for soothing and calming and making it through might be very different than what I need. In some couples, one member of the couple needs to withdraw and like spend time with it and really be with that feeling, while the other person might need to titrate it more and kind of go out and be distracted from it and then be exposed to it in very mild doses. And if you have two people who are responding in very different ways, they can get very upset with each other and feel very alone. And
because already in a family system, there's already pressure, no matter what the emotion is or what the experience is, to come on, get along, do what we're all going to do.
That's right.
This is the way this family does it.
That's right.
And you're going to do it too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, I mean, I hesitate to say this because it can come across wrong, and I don't. When you're dealing with grief and you have somebody help you explore your own attachment issues that go along with it, explore family individuation issues, it's an opportunity to heal very deep stuff. And I don't mean that opportunity like a positive thing. I don't mean I'm really glad this happened so we have this opportunity, but it is an opportunity that arises where I see it all the time, where people who are willing to have me help them with their attachment issues that we're banging into with grief, they have this chance to heal stuff that they didn't even really know was causing them issues in the rest of their life. And just like you're describing in families, there's that tendency to need everybody to merge and be the same, or in avoidant families for everybody to go off and handle things themselves. And if you're really helping these families, like, to realize we need to be individuated, you experience this way, you experience this way, and to have
and we can support each other.
That's right. And we'll have to negotiate sometimes because we can't all have all of our individual needs met in every situation. So how do we negotiate those needs? But at least we're talking about it. And if families can be helped to do that around grief, it can be a very powerful thing for them, tool for them to have in dealing with lots of other things. So.
Do you talk to your clients about your own experience? Do they know?
It depends on
It depends on the client.
It depends on the client, because some people actually really feel comforted by knowing that I have been there.
Yes, because I have found with grief that's particularly true, and probably particularly true with a few other things, but with grief, people want to know you've been where I am. That's
right, because it feels so different than so many things that you've been through. So to know that somebody's been through it can really help. On occasion, I have somebody who I can just feel is too much information.
Okay.
I had a client who had a very narcissistic mother and who really kind of took over my client's experience a lot. And she came to me, and from someone who knew my history. She was widowed, and she came to me from someone who knew my history, and that's why they referred her to me. But I just got the sense that we should just talk about her. And years later in our work, she found out from somebody else about my history. And she actually did come in and say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I've been telling you stuff you already know, and you've probably been really bored this whole time.
She was taking care of you. And
so it was powerful at that point in our work that we could work that through. And she had enough history with me to know that she didn't have to take care of me. But mostly it helps people to know, and sometimes it's better if they don't.
That's so helpful. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I'm really looking forward to your presentation. You'll be presenting at the Austin AMFT meeting, which is coming up Friday, November 14th at 11:30 at Cover 3. And if you're interested in attending or registering for the event, please visit our website. Thank you.